Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at another horrible case with you. On June 23rd, 2024, two murders occurred in the same house, prompting the police to begin their investigation. The police decide to begin by reviewing footage from a CCTV camera installed outside the house. However, they come across something very strange. The CCTV camera was off on the day of the murders. The murders were clearly the fault of whoever turned off the camera, but the police had to figure out who did. This story begins in the Yamunanagar district of Haryana, India. Yamunanagar is known for its plywood and paper mills, which supply wood to large industries. A family of three lived in this area. Meena Saini, 50, the head of the household, her 29-year-old daughter Kajal, and her 27-year-old son Rahul Saini. Meena Saini's husband died, and she has worked hard since then to improve the family's financial situation. Rahul Saini now runs a small business, and his sister Kajal works as a salesperson at a mobile shop. Meena had worked hard to stabilize her family after her husband's death, and things were looking up in the Saini household. However, on June 23rd, 2024, something happened that completely destroyed the Saini family. On June 23rd, Kajal decided to take a day off work to visit the salon. Around 2 p.m., she received a message from her mother on her cell phone. In the message, Meena Saini had written, "Daughter, bring 2 juice packets on your way home." When Kajal saw this message after finishing at the salon, it was around 4 p.m., and she arrived home with the juice. However, upon entering her house, Kajal found everything scattered, and upon entering the drawing room, she discovered her brother's blood-soaked dead body lying on the floor. Seeing this, Kajal frantically ran to the bedroom, where she found her mother's dead body lying on the bed. When Kajal discovered the bodies of her mother and younger brother, she went outside and informed some neighbors. Some witnesses came to see the crime for themselves, and one of them called the police. Everyone tried to talk to Kajal, but she couldn't say anything because she was crying uncontrollably. When the police arrived at the crime scene a few minutes later, they found everything scattered on the floor as soon as they entered the house. Furthermore, upon examining the dead bodies of Meena and Rahul Saini, the police discovered that their murders were identical. Blood gushed from their heads, suggesting that a heavy object had attacked both victims. In addition, Meena's neck bore marks, and the police found a charging cable near Rahul's body. In the initial investigation, the police theorized that this was a case of robbery, as some valuable items were missing from the house. The police believed that when Meena and her son Rahul tried to stop the robbers, they first attacked their heads and then strangled them with the charging cable. Afterward, the robbers fled with the jewelry and money from the house. Forensic experts collected several fingerprints and other forensic evidence from the house after sending both bodies for a post-mortem examination. Since Kajal was in Ceylon, she was the only surviving member of the family who could tell the police the full story. After the situation had calmed down, the police questioned Kajal, who told them she had left home around 10 a.m. to go to the salon. However, around 2 p.m., her mother texted her to bring 2 packets of juice. When she finished at salon, she bought the juice packets and returned home. Upon her arrival, she found the bodies of her brother and mother, along with a ransacked house. Aside from that, she had no idea why, how, or when this all happened. Now, Kajal shows the police the message in which her mother asked her to bring 2 juice packets. When the police saw the message and its timing, they knew Kajal was telling the truth. After discovering a CCTV camera outside their home, the police decided to review the footage from June 23 RD. However, when the police examined the hard drive to view the camera recordings, they discovered that they were available until 6 a.m. on June 23rd. After that, someone turned off the live recording of the CCTV camera. This seemed very strange to the police because, on the same day that a double murder occurred in the house, the CCTV camera was turned off in the morning. Now the question was, who turned off the CCTV camera and why? This was where the entire case took a turn. For the first time, the police suspected that someone close to the Saini family must have been involved in this conspiracy, not a stranger. Only 3 people lived in the house: and of them only Kajal had survived, so the police questioned her once again. However, Kajal repeated the same story she had told the police earlier. The police then expanded their investigation and decided to check all of the CCTV cameras in the area to determine who came to Kajal's house and who left. Early on, the police discovered a CCTV camera installed near Kajal's house, with its angle aimed at her home. Despite the camera's poor quality, it was still able to reveal who entered and exited Kajal's home. The police decided to review the footage, beginning with recordings from June 23 between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. They did this because Mina Saini had instructed her daughter to bring 2 packets of juice at 2 p.m., indicating that Mina and Rahul were present at the time. Kajal's arrival home by 4 p.m. indicated that the murder of Mina and Rahul Saini must have occurred within these 2 hours. However, after watching 2 hours of footage, the police found nothing. As no one entered or exited the Saini family's house during this period, the police then reviewed the footage from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. but found nothing again. They continued to check the footage from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. but still found no suspects. The police then reviewed video footage from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. However, when they reviewed the footage from 7 to 8 a.m., they noticed a boy entering Kajal's house. He left about half an hour later, carrying some items. Kajal left the house on her scooter shortly after his departure. Kajal had left the house at 8 a.m. and returned around 4 p.m. Because she initially told them that she went to the salon around 10 a.m., the police caught Kajal's first lie. Following this, the police questioned Kajal again, and she stated that she left the house around 10 a.m. and had no idea what happened next. However, the police showed Kajal the CCTV footage, which clearly showed that she had left her house between 8 and 9 a.m. The police also questioned Kajal about the boy who had stayed at her house for half an hour. However, Kajal refused to recognize the boy and told the police that she had no idea who he was or when he came to their house. Meanwhile, once the post-mortem report arrived, everything became clear. According to the post-mortem report, Mina and Rahul passed away between 7 and 8 a.m. On the other hand, Kajal's story to the police was completely opposite to this evidence. So, the police checked the location history of Kajal and Mina's mobile phones, which showed that when Mina messaged Kajal to bring juice, her phone's location was outside the house. But the surprising thing was that around 2 p.m., both Kajal and Mina's phone locations showed the same place. Now the question arose, did Kajal message herself from her mother's phone? The timing of Mina and Rahul's deaths, the presence of both mother and daughter phones in the same location, and the absence of the house CCTV camera all raised suspicions about Kajal. Therefore, the police took Kajal to the station for a strict interrogation. Kajal eventually confessed to killing her mother and brother and told the full story of her actions. Kajal's family raised her as a boy, dressing and grooming her accordingly. As Kajal grew up in this environment, her parents became concerned when she continued to hang out with boys and behave like them, even into adulthood. But when Kajal's mother started trying to stop her from living like a boy, it led to frequent arguments between them. Kajal had created an Instagram account where she posted pictures of boys' clothing. During this time, Kajal arranged for her brother to marry one of her friends, but the marriage soon fell apart because Kajal attempted to form a physical relationship with her brother's wife. Later, Rahul married another woman, but Kajal also found herself attracted to this new sister-in-law. When Rahul's second wife discovered Kajal's feelings, she divorced him. This implies that Kajal had a strong attraction to women and identified as a lesbian. Despite her frequent fights with her mother and brother, Kajal began living in a separate room on the first floor of her house. However, staying in a single room on the first floor all day made Kajal feel as if her mother and brother were her enemies. Kajal began to believe that, as long as her mother and brother were alive, she could not live her life as she desired. It was at this point that Kajal first thought of killing her mother and brother, but she realized she couldn't do it alone. She then considered enlisting the help of her maternal uncle's son, Chris. Kajal was certain that Chris would assist her in carrying out this double murder because there was a dispute over some ancestral property between Kajal's mother and her siblings. Kajal incited Chris by telling him that, as long as her mother and brother were alive, he would not receive a share of the property. If they died, however, they could divide the property among themselves. Chris, wanting revenge against his aunt, agreed to murder Meena and Rahul Saini. Not only that, but Chris also told his brother Yishant about the plan. However, Yishant refused to be involved. Following this, on June 23, 2024, Kajal invites Chris to her house. That time, her brother Rahul was shaving his beard. However, Kajal had already turned off the CCTV cameras in the house to prevent any recording of Chris's arrival. Then Chris meets Rahul and enters a room. Inside the room, Kajal's mother, Meena, was present. Initially, Kajal and Chris attack Meena Saini with a heavy object. Meena screams loudly, and as Rahul enters the room, Chris attacks him in the drawing room. After Meena and Rahul are writhing in agony, Kajal and Chris strangle them with a charging cable to ensure their deaths. To give the scene the appearance of a robbery, they ransack the entire house, and Chris escapes with some valuables. Furthermore, when Kajal left the house on her scooter, she packed some jewelry from the house in the trunk, including her mother's mobile phone. However, what Kajal does after leaving the house is quite shocking. In fact, Kajal left her home between 8 and 9 a.m. With a solid plan in place for when to send herself a message from her mother's phone and when to return home to create drama, Kajal spent her time between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. at a salon, having her hair straightened first. Kajal spends a lot of time in the salon, and around 2 p.m., she sends herself a message using her mother's phone. Kajal reads the message a little later and returns home with 2 packets of juice. We've already told you what happened after this. However, a closed CCTV camera captured the entirety of the terrifying case. After this story broke, the police arrested Kajal and Chris, as well as Chris' brother, Yishant. Despite Yishant's lack of involvement in the murder, his knowledge of the entire plan could have saved 2 lives, especially considering the recent nature of this case. These are the only current updates. However, the police have apprehended Kajal, Chris, and Yishant. But we'll keep an eye on this case. So, the Meena and Rahul Saini double murder case ends right here. Additionally, if you want to recommend a case for us to make a detailed video on, please leave the case's name in the comments section. If you appreciate our efforts, please like and share this video. If you haven't already subscribed, do so now. Thank you.